What's up guys, your boy DW bringing you tech, gadget, product reviews, and more. Are you looking for a new laptop? And not just any laptop, the best all-around laptop. One that can do it all, the jack of all trades. One to replace that desktop you have at home, but still with the portability to take it outdoors. Well, today we're going to take a look at the 2017 Dell... Oh wait, let me get it first. Well, today we're going to take a look at the 2017 Dell XPS 15. This guy's been getting a lot of great reviews across the board, but how good is it really? Is this finally the one that everyone's been waiting for? And most importantly, is this the one for you? Well, let's dive in and take a look. Here we have the 2017 XPS 15 by Dell, the older sibling of the XPS 13, flexing a larger display and a dedicated video card. This one is rocking a 4K display, i5 quad-core Kaby Lake processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 256 SSD hard drive. Due to the success of the earlier 2015 model, much hasn't changed in terms of design. The outside chassis sports a clean silver and black aesthetic, with its feature aluminum display lid and a black Dell logo. The interior is lined with actual real carbon fiber coated with a layer of soft touch. There's no compromise on build quality here, as it feels exceptional and screams premium. Measuring just 14 by 9 inches, this laptop weighs in at 4.6 pounds, which is fairly lightweight for portability and travel. Lifting the lid reveals a gorgeous 4K Infinity Edge display. The thin, nearly bezel-less display allows the screen to take center stage without distracting borders. It really is one of the shining stars. Built with Gorilla Glass, the screen is brilliant, vivid, and accurate. Pictures have depth and almost bursting out of the screen. It covers 188% of sRGB, 99% Adobe RGB, and provides 170 degrees of viewing angle. This allows the ability to reproduce almost every color imaginable. It makes reading articles, watching YouTube, Netflix, and feature films extremely enjoyable and satisfying. The display can be touch-enabled for a more intuitive experience or disable to conserve battery life. The screen is bright, averaging 282 nits with a max of 350 nits, beating the industry average of 266 nits. The brightness surely helps, as one of the cons to this gorgeous display is the glossy finish, which becomes reflective in direct light. You can see here as I go from 0 to 100% brightness on how it mitigates glare from the background. Another compromise is the hunger for battery. Depending on your screen brightness and battery size, it can make a difference of hours compared to the alternative. Speaking of, those who are looking to save not just money but battery life can opt for the 1080 Full HD panel, which still looks great and color accurate, covering 99% sRGB and 77% Adobe RGB. Gamers will rejoice at the high response rate for first-person shooters, as well as the matte finish that will minimize reflection. But if you're into editing photos and videos and need the attention to color accuracy, the 4K version is definitely the one for you. The XPS 15 offers a nicely spaced out keyboard, with all your standard keys minus the number pad. Even on a 15-inch laptop, packing it in might be too cramped to be comfortable. The key travel has not changed or improved from last year. It is still 1.3 millimeters. It lacks the clicky feedback you get from comparable laptops and is easy to bottom out, giving it a mushy feel. By no means is the keyboard bad, but it isn't great either. For the purpose of typing and its function, it gets the job done and it works. Under the keyboard are white LEDs, which provide 3 brightness options: brightest, bright, and off. The trackpad feels good with a smooth rubber pad texture, just enough to differentiate from the soft touch palm rest. It's a good size, precise, and supports Windows precision gestures. New to this year's model is the optional fingerprint reader for an additional cost of $25. Not included in my model, but it would sit right below the N key right here. It gives users another option for quicker login through Windows Hello. One of the major complaints on previous models, and still here, is the location of the webcam. With the near bezel-less display taking up most of the real estate, The webcam has been relocated to the bottom left of the Dell logo. The awkward placement gives an unflattering angle and acts as a booger scanner. It shoots at 720p and the quality is mediocre at best. For those using webcams often, you'll be disappointed and might consider purchasing a separate USB cam instead. As for myself, I rarely use it, so it's not a big deal. Let's take a look at I/O. On the right side, we have an SD card reader, a USB 3 Type A, a battery indicator, and a Kensington lock slot. On the left side, we have a USB 3 Type A, a full-size HDMI 1.4, a USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type C supporting Thunderbolt 3, and the usual analog combo jack for headphone and microphone. HDMI 2 will be a nice addition as the current 1.4 only supports 4K video at 24 frames per second. However, if you want 4K video at 60 frames, it can still be achieved by connecting a DisplayPort adapter to USB-C. Also note that Thunderbolt 3 is only using 2 lanes of PCIe instead of the normal 4. This change might limit its performance from hitting 40 GB per second as Dell claims. The good news, with Dell updates, external GPUs are still supported, so you can plug in your Razer Core and still have a killer gaming experience. The USB-C port supports charging from external power sources, but usually requires a higher watt input. The typical power banks used for phones and tablets does not emit enough power and will be incompatible. Reports of 60 watt plus chargers, such as the one for Google Chromebook, works perfectly. Charging speeds will be slower than the included AC adapter, but the flexibility in charging options is appreciated. Speaking of charging, it will take approximately 164 minutes to fully charge from 0 to 100%, around 16 minutes longer than the previous model, and that's due to the larger battery. Dell upgraded the battery from last year's 84 watt-hour to this year's 97, which is right at the 100 watt limit for air travel. With all specifications being the same, the larger battery should result in 15% longer battery life. Setting the brightness at 50%, expect around 6.5 hours of web surfing or 6 hours of Netflix binge watching. Now that's pretty good if you're considering that it's running a 4K display and a quad-core processor. Battery life can be further extended by choosing the 1080p version as well as dropping down the brightness. Now, if you're planning to do any rendering in Adobe Premiere or any GPU intensive tasks such as gaming, that's a whole different story. Expect the battery to drain much more rapidly as you'll only get around 1 to 2 hours. For anyone who's looking to install a second hard drive, there's a smaller battery option at 56 watt-hour, but if you're seriously looking for battery life, stick to the 97 watt-hour version here. Out of the box, audio is less than adequate. A quick fix requires opening the application Max Audio Pro, which is included in the Dell software bundle. Under playback, turn on the enhancement switch and you're all set, that's it. You can even make minor adjustments such as tuning your bass and treble. Audio is what you expect from most laptops. You will not be DJing at house parties, but is adequate to fill a modest-sized room with Spotify or YouTube. Unlike upwards facing speakers from other laptops, the ones here are angled down and forward, giving it less volume but still enough for basic entertainment. The mids and highs are clear, but the low end can definitely use more oomph. For the majority of us, we'll probably be plugging in earphones or using an external speaker anyway. For internet, Dell is using gamers' preferred killer wireless card, as it prioritizes gaming and streaming videos over downloads. This should provide low latency times in video games and fluid streaming in apps such as Twitch. It's not without its controversy, as users have reported random disconnects and restarts from the network card when the laptop was first released. The issue appeared to be resolved with recent Dell updates. I personally haven't encountered any problems, as I have updated all the drivers on day one. Thermals are looking good, considering it's packed with a quad-core processor and a dedicated GPU with one of the smallest footprint for a 15-inch. It is due to the excellent engineering and design that keeps the temperature stable without throttling issues even under maximum load for extended periods. Throughout 20 minutes of gaming, the GPU was steady at 77 degrees Celsius at 1200 MHz. Externally, the hottest region is located at the top, middle portion of the keyboard with a high of 49 degrees Celsius. Now that might sound hot, but the keyboard was never uncomfortable to touch as the palm rest didn't experience much temperature change. Normally with good thermals, the cost is additional noise. Luckily, this is not the issue for the XPS. the laptop is practically silent for the majority of everyday use. Only under heavy loads like Adobe Premiere and gaming is where you'll hear the fan ramp up. Even then, it's not distractingly loud and nowhere near the noise from laptops like the Razer Blade. By looking at the slim profile, one might not expect the XPS to handle games. Packing in a GTX 1050, it's a considerable upgrade from last year's 960M. Increasing the RAM from 2GB to 4GB nets up to 30% boost in performance. It's able to handle most modern AAA titles, but not without limitations. Don't expect it to run smoothly on high or ultra settings, and definitely not on 4K. The sweet spot is medium on 1080p, which will net you frames of 60 and above. Games such as Overwatch surprisingly runs extremely well, hitting 90 frames on high settings and even playable on ultra. Now, if you are a heavy gamer, this laptop is probably not for you, and you're better off with traditional gaming laptop or something like the Razer Blade. All in all, you'll be pleasantly happy being able to play most games on the go without breaking your back. Performance will vary depending on the version and configuration you choose, and boy do we have a lot of options here. On the low end, you can have a $1,000 model with Core i3 and minimum specs. Almost everything here can be upgraded from processor, RAM, SSD to display. If budget is not a concern and you want all the bells and whistles, you can max it out to an i7 quad-core 32GB of RAM, 1TB SSD, and with a 4K display. It might cost you well over $2,000, but comparing to a MacBook Pro with comparable specs, it is substantially cheaper. Most people will go somewhere down the middle and customize it to their need and budget. And that's great, everyone can be accommodated. So my version is running an i5, 16GB of RAM, 256 SSD with a 1050 GPU card and a 4K display. The performance so far has been strong and solid. For everyday tasks such as web surfing and word processing, this is probably overkill and you expect nothing less than butter smooth performance. Even running 20 to 30 Google Chrome tabs with HD video streaming and music playing in the background, it won't cause any hiccups. What separates this laptop from Ultrabooks is the ability to run more heavy applications such as Photoshop and Premiere. Editing 1080p videos on this laptop is a breeze, and even 4K is manageable with some tweaks in the settings. I'm able to do most of my editing on this machine, and that's mainly due to the quad-core processing along with the help of the dedicated video card. The Dell XPS is a fantastic and standout laptop. Sure, it comes with a hefty price tag, but the value is in its premium features. The gorgeous 4K screen is easily one of the best in the market. You get strong performance that will rip through any multitasking and application you throw at it. The battery life is solid and you can get through most of your day on one charge. It is extremely well built and designed, in which is not just pleasing to the eyes, but it's also sturdy. This thing is durable. It can probably take a few drops and still last for years. With all the great features, it's still not the perfect system and it has a few missteps. The location of the nose cam has still not been fixed and it's awkwardly placed, and the keyboard is still shallow. There were initial bugs that were shipped out with the original release of the laptop, but over the year with Dell updates, everything seems to be resolved. So, who is this laptop for? For those who's looking for a laptop that specializes in specific areas, well, there are better options. If you are looking for a super ultra lightweight laptop with better battery life and your general use is probably surfing the web or typing on Microsoft Word, then you're better off with Ultrabooks. If you're into gaming and you're looking for the best graphics, you're better off with a traditional gaming laptop with the cost of some extra weight. But for those who's looking for a good all-around laptop, one for day-to-day tasks, whether it's for school, for work, or passive entertainment, one that can function as a desktop with the portability to take it outdoors, one that can handle heavy applications such as number crunching, coding, editing, and some light gaming, this one is hard to beat and may be the best one out there in the market. This is a great laptop, and with Dell deals popping up here and there, you can probably get this for a few $100s less than the retail price. If you have been eyeing this laptop and are on the fence, I would say jump on it. It's a fantastic laptop and you will not be disappointed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button below. If you want to see more videos just like this one, click on the subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, take care and be safe.